رب العالمين الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين شفيع ذنوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم محمد وعليه الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين وأصحابه المنتجبين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. أما بعد، السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We have gathered to remember those that we have lost in the recent days. Marhuma Nurjahan Ali Bhai, Marhum Baqir Haji, our beloved Sheikh Nimar, the Marhumin of Sheikh Zakzaki's family, and Marhuma Shirin Bhai, Ghulam Ali Kasmali. Now when we remember our beloved who are with us and now no longer with us, this occasion that brings us together in itself brings a lot of merit for the people who are no longer here. For it is indeed their love that brought us together, and it's a testimony of their life within us, the goodness that they still leave behind despite not being here. Whatever enlightenment we gain through discussions in their remembrance is something that is a source of elevation for them and a reward for them in their life hereafter. And this then emphasizes the statement of the Prophet and the Imams that live amongst people in a way that whilst you are alive, they crave your company. And when you leave them, they think of you and talk of you. To always live with people in a way that is befitting, a good way, a beautiful way. Imagine, today we have one of two options only. We can either reciprocate with people in like manner, in which case we will always feel bitter, we will always be fighting, or we can reciprocate in a godly manner, in a way that God responds by having patience, forbearance, clemency, forgiveness. Or as the fourth Imam has said, that do not say to one who abuses you that I shall abuse you 10 times over. Do not even be like the one who says, if you abuse me, I shall abuse you as well. But be like one who, when abused, prays for the person who has transgressed. And when the one who has transgressed approaches him, he does not hold his previous crimes against him, but in a very godly way accepts them. These are opportunities for us to interact in a godly way. And then when we leave people, we leave them with that beautiful example. These sort of gatherings bring to mind, honestly, what life is all about. Shabir Bhai read this beautiful dua in his beautiful way, and it brings to mind all those years in which we used to hear him recite this dua. And when we listen to that dua, we don't feel the time lapse between the duas that we've been hearing from him. But if you think about it carefully, when he reads a dua, we are talking about a time span of 25, 30, 35, 40 years. You know this, don't you? It's the same dua. We forget the time that has gone. It feels like we were sitting inside Forest Road or Tyndall Hall or Clifton Mosque many, many years ago, if you remember. But 40 odd years, 35 odd years have elapsed, and this time has gone away. We are slowly approaching our destiny. We need to make good what is to come. We need to take this life as a very beautiful opportunity from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do as much good as we possibly can. When I look at life, I begin to understand that actually there is no worth in this life apart from attaining a status of intimacy with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, gentleness of soul, an innocent heart. There is no more to be gained from this world. What else can you gain from this world? What is there that this world can offer to us? To be honest with you, why should we come into this world and not expect difficulties in this world? Have we lost our minds? Of course, this world is a place of difficulties. How can we come into this world and then not expect to die? This world is a place of death. How can we be in this world and then not expect sickness? It's a place of sickness. It's a place of loss. It's a place of death. Deluded are people who can't accept these things. We need to be very realistic. We will die. We will lose those who are close to us. We will become sick. We will fall. We will have enemies. All of these things are a part and parcel of the life of this world. Suffering is a hallmark of this world. But what we need to understand through it all is that we need to make something of ourselves. Through suffering, either we can break and complain, or either we can become mountains of resolve. Through loss, either we can break, or either we can gain from within in a way that no loss can affect us beyond that point. Through death, we can gain life. Through loss, we can gain wealth. Through death, we can understand the beauty that awaits us. Now tell me, if we are going towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala truly, if this is what we believe, then shouldn't our prime objective be to form an intimate bond with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? If we are going to leave this world behind us, if me and you are going to say goodbye to each other, and the only one to whom we will advance is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then shouldn't we be making good our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Shouldn't we be falling in love with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Shouldn't we be in a position where we begin to recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Shaykh just recited, Ya wali al-mu'mineen, O friend of those who are faithful. Wali means an intimate friend. Ya ghayat a'mal al-arifin, O the peak of the desires of the ones who know. Ya habib qulub as-sadiqeen, O the beloved of the hearts of the truthful ones. Look at all these beautiful names of Allah that Amirul Mu'mineen is talking about. Shouldn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mean all those things to us in this life when we know He is the only one to whom we are advancing? We will lose each other, won't we? We will lose each other. When I die, none of you will be with me, and you can't be with me even if you wanted to. Think about it, you will put me to rest. You can't come with me. It's a solitary journey. But the only one who will be with me is my God. Then shouldn't I be in a position now in which I make amends with God, begin to recognize Him, fall in love with Him, make that bond with Him? I often ask myself, why do I feel a sense of fear at the point of death? Why? Only reason is because I really don't know anything beyond this life. You see, if I were to be told that you are going to take on this very difficult journey, but the plane will land, the ship will hit the shore, and there you will find your children, I wouldn't mind that. I have this assurance, I have the guarantee that the ship will sail to the shore, and I will meet my mother, my brethren, my family, my children. I wouldn't mind that at all. But when it comes to the point of death, when I think of death, when I get that slight pain in the chest, when there's turbulence in my ark, when there are stormy waters, I am gripped by such irrational fear, confusion. There is total chaos within me. And I ask myself, why? The only answer is because I don't know beyond this world. There is no God in me. There is no God in my mind. But I have been given guarantee that your ark at death is sailing to safety. That your plane is landing with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is there to receive you. Then why don't I have this confidence? Why don't I want to meet with Allah? Why is there so much fear in me? None of this makes sense. It just emphasizes to me that I have forgotten the objective of life altogether. Tell me, what point is there in me being charitable in this world? If I am afraid of death, if I don't recognize Allah, tell me, what point is there in me being a truthful person in this world? When this truthfulness is staying in this world and it's not leading me to the recognition of my Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tell me, what good are all my good human qualities when I do not have God with me, when I do not have trust in my Allah, when I do not have an intimate bond with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The very fact that I can hurt another human, the very fact I can lose sleep at night, the very fact I can cheat another human being, doesn't that show the absence of God altogether? The very fact that I crumble at pain, the very fact that I complain to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say all the nasty things to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the very fact that I foolishly say to Allah, I will not prostrate to you, isn't that a testimony of a fool himself? And a greater fool is one who places his head in sajda and doesn't find Allah there. These lives are this small. And in that, me and you have come to this point. It's almost touching us, you know that. Death is touching us almost. It is about time that we awoke. This life, the chaotic state of it, people's quarrels, people's fighting, these lengthy aspirations, all of this is a delusion. It doesn't mean anything. For a soul that has awoken, that has been touched by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they really do not have time to occupy themselves with this life more than what is necessary. The blessed Prophet of Allah, he had a beautiful soul, but he would say, indeed my heart becomes rusty after living in this world for so many hours of a day. So I shall take time out and I shall do istighfar to remove the rust from my heart. I will read the Quran to polish the mirror of my heart with the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that by the next morning, again, Allah fills my heart. Again, I have perspective. This is what we need to do. For those of you who are now stepping into life, seriously, make good, don't waste it like the way we have wasted it, or the person like the like of me have wasted this life. It's a beautiful opportunity. And you're young, honestly, find Allah, that breath of the merciful, when He imparts it upon your soul, the feeling that you will feel, the enlightenment that you will feel, the love that you will feel is so overpowering. If there are things that you want from God and He is not giving it to you, rejoice in Him not giving it to you. Believe me, when He is my mother and He is my father, He is my brother, He is my sister, He is my friend, He is my author, He is my master, and if I leave myself to Him and I say, Lord, this is what I want, and if He does not give it to me, then I should rejoice. Do you know why? Because I've left myself to Him. If it's decided otherwise, then I should be happy. Oh Lord, you have decided otherwise for me. It means you love me. I'll give you a little example before I finish and my time is up. It was going to be a very short talk. There are two people who go to somebody they love immensely. Let's say two people go to a person. One of them immensely loves them, and the other one is obedient. Both of them ask. He gives it to one and doesn't give it to the other. And when he gives it to that one and says, go away, the other one says, why didn't you give it to me? He says, because I love your company. I want you to ask me again and again and again. I want you to sit with me. I want you to be with me. I don't want you to leave me. That is the reason I don't give what you want to you. What a splendid reward that would be. Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be such a splendid reward? What if a mother said to one of her children, here, I've cooked the food for you, go. And to the other one, she says, just stay with me instead. What would be a greater reward? Tell me. We need to find Allah so intimately. Now, with this Dua Kumail, Imam Ali said one thing, Ma hakada dhannu bik. Yes. It is said on the day of Qiyamah, the lovers of Allah will be dragged by their forelocks towards the pits of hell. And as they are dragged, they will glance towards the throne and they will say, Ma hakada dhannu bik. O Lord, we did not have this opinion of you. As sinful as I was, I always counted on your love for me to save me on this day. And Allah will say, stop. Admit them to paradise. He speaks the truth. He loved me to this extent that he blindly trusted that no matter what he will do, I will always be there for him. And I cannot let him down. This is that connection of love with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that comes deep from within the heart. This is something we need to have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now think of all these beautiful souls that have left us with such beautiful examples. Auntie would always smile even at the peak of her cancer. And whenever we would go to her, she would go out of her way to cook the most lavish meal. To have a heart like that and to love the creatures. And then that heart falls in love with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a similar fashion. Bakir Bhai, always smiling. Never a bad word upon his tongue. This is the way we need to fall in love with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Such gentleness of the soul, such innocence of heart. And then fall in love with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and trust Allah so fully. We come and end this brief talk and we come to the remembrance of the most beloved of all, our Hussein ibn Ali. His resolve, his intimate bond with Allah is remarkable. As he progresses on the day of Ashura, as the calamities increase, we see an increase of an enlightened state in Hussein's being, an increase in his reliance to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, an increase to his surrender and devotion. Now I ask you this, and come along with me. A son like Akbar lies in front of him, rubbing his heels upon the dust of Karbala. Observe this Akbar of Hussein. His head bears a deep wound left by a sword, and his heart bears the end of a spear. Hussein observes his son. He looks to the skies. He says, "O Lord, you observe this with me, and you being with me makes this bearable." But this Hussein, this great mountain of resolve, comes under another test. And at this point he is unable to bear. But who would have thought that a man who has lifted the torn pieces of his Qasim, the torn chest of his Akbar, and the torn arms of his Abbas, can ever fall to the ground? But such are the ways of Allah. And this master and a mountain of resolve crumbles at a point. And what is that point, you ask me? A point where his arms are stretched out. There's a baby upon his hands. And the baby has turned. And the blood gushes as if a slaughtered bird. He begins to tremble. For the first time we see Hussein unable to move. He no longer pleads to Allah, stunned and shocked. This great mountain of resolve begins to crumble. And as he begins to arrive at his knees, for the first time there's a cry from heaven, "Hussein, give him to me. I have a mother waiting for him." It is at that point that Hussein finds some comfort. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا وأي منقلب ينقلبون. إلهي إنا نسألك بحق الحسين وجده وأبيه وأمه وأخيه وتسعة المعصومين من ذريته وبنيه. اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. اللهم عجل فرج إمامنا المنتظر واجعلنا من أنصاره وأعوانه والمستشهدين بين يديه. Let us recite Surah Fatiha for Marhuma Nur Jahan Hassan Ali Bhai, Marhum Sheikh Nimar, Marhum Baqir Habib, Marhuma Shirin Bhai Gulam Ali Qasim Ali, Marhumin of Bata, Barwani, Karmali, and all of our families. Al-Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahmanirrahim. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Sure.